Rafe walked slowly along the side of the busy road, holding the small hand of his son, Sammy. Cars rushed past, cold wind touched their faces, and people walked quickly without noticing them. Rafe kept his head down, trying to protect his son from the cold air. They had no home and no warm place to rest. But Rafe did his best every day to make sure Sammy felt safe. Sammy was only 7, but he understood their situation. He did not ask for expensive things, he did not complain, and he always tried to smile for his father. Rafe loved his son more than anything in the world. Every step he took was for Sammy. That day, Rafe was tired. He had worked since morning, carrying heavy boxes at a small shop. The pay was low but enough for one meal. He wanted to earn enough for a small room, but the city was expensive and harsh. Still, Rafe believed that one day life would change. As Rafe and Sammy reached a small market area, they heard someone calling his name. A man from a local post office hurried toward them with a letter in his hand. Rafe felt surprised because he never received letters. He did not even have a proper address. The post office man asked, "Are you Rafe?" "Yes, I am," Rafe answered with confusion. The man handed him the envelope and walked away. Rafe stared at the letter for a long moment. His hands shook a little, and Sammy watched him with curious eyes. Finally, Rafe opened the envelope. Inside was a letter written in clear handwriting. It said he had inherited a house in the mountains from an uncle named Ramiz. Rafe felt shocked because he barely remembered this uncle. He only knew he had visited once when he was a child. The letter said the house was legally his and ready for him to move into. It also said the house was in a peaceful valley and was well maintained. Rafe read the letter again and again. He did not believe it at first. It felt impossible. Why would his uncle leave him a house? The thought felt unreal. For months he had struggled to find shelter, and suddenly a house was waiting for him. Sammy tugged at his sleeve and asked what the letter said. When Rafe explained that they might have a home now, Sammy smiled brightly. His eyes shined with hope, and that gave Rafe courage. He decided they would go and at least see the house. They had nothing to lose. The next morning, they took a bus heading toward the mountains. The long journey felt slow at first, but as they left the noisy city behind, Rafe felt lighter. The air became clean and cool. Tall trees stood on both sides of the road, rising high into the sky. The bus engine hummed softly, and Sammy pressed his face against the window, amazed by the scenery. As the bus climbed higher, the landscape changed. Small houses appeared on green hills, smoke rose from chimneys, and birds flew over the valleys. Sunlight touched the trees in a warm way, making everything look peaceful. Rafe felt something inside him relax. He was tired, but hope warmed his heart. When they reached a small mountain village, a guide waited near the bus stand. The letter had said the guide would help them reach the house. He introduced himself as Farid, a friendly man with a calm smile. Farid looked at Rafe with respect and said he had known Uncle Ramiz for many years. Farid led them up a narrow stone path that twisted along the slope. Trees surrounded them, and the sound of wind moved through the branches. Birds chirped softly. The walk was long, but the air smelled fresh, and the forest felt alive. When they reached the house, Rafe stopped in awe. The building stood proudly on the hillside. It was made of strong, dark wood and had a wide balcony facing the valley. The roof was clean, the windows were shining, and the yard was neat. It looked peaceful and welcoming. Sammy ran around the front yard, laughing with excitement. He said it looked like a house from a storybook. Rafe slowly climbed the steps to the door, feeling nervous yet curious. He pushed the door open. The inside of the house was beautiful in a simple way. Wooden floors stretched across wide rooms. The living room had a large fireplace made of stone. Sunlight entered through the windows, filling the space with a warm glow. Everything was clean and arranged carefully. It did not feel empty. It felt like someone had prepared it for them. Rafe walked through each room. The bedrooms had warm blankets and soft beds. The kitchen had clean utensils and even jars of dried herbs. The walls carried a scent of fresh wood mixed with mountain air. Rafe felt as if the house recognized him somehow. There was a quiet warmth in every corner. As Rafe explored deeper, he found old pictures on a shelf. One was a picture of his uncle Ramiz, smiling in front of the same balcony. Another picture showed his uncle with a younger Rafe standing beside him when he was just a child. Rafe felt a wave of emotion. He remembered faint memories of visiting this place long ago, though the memories were hazy. Rafe whispered that the house felt like his dreams. He often dreamed of a wooden home on a mountain with a wide balcony and a quiet valley stretching far below. The dreams always gave him peace. Now he was standing in a place that matched those dreams exactly. That evening, Rafe lit a small fire in the fireplace. The flames danced softly, filling the room with warmth. Sammy sat close to his father, leaning his head on his shoulder. For the first time in a long time, Rafe felt calm. There was no noise from the city, no fear of losing shelter, no cold wind. Only peace. He thought about his uncle and wondered why he had left the house to him. He wondered if there were reasons he did not understand yet. Maybe the house held stories he needed to discover. Maybe his uncle believed Rafe would find his way there at the right moment. When night came, Rafe and Sammy climbed into soft beds. The blankets felt warm and gentle. Rafe stared at the wooden ceiling and listened to the quiet sound of the wind outside. He could hear the forest moving, as if whispering a welcome, before falling asleep. He looked at Sammy sleeping peacefully beside him. For the first time in many months, his son was not cold, not hungry, not scared. They had a roof over their heads and a chance for a new life. Rafe closed his eyes with gratitude. He felt something deep inside him shift, like a door opening to a new path. He did not know what the future held, but he believed this house would change everything. That night he slept with a peaceful heart, surrounded by the calm breath of the mountains. The next morning, sunlight entered through the wooden window and spread across the room. Rafe opened his eyes slowly and felt a strange sense of peace. He was not waking up on a cold footpath or a hard bench. He was lying on a real bed inside a safe house. His son, Sammy, still slept beside him with a soft smile on his face. Rafe watched him quietly and whispered a small prayer of thanks. When they stepped outside to the balcony, the valley looked breathtaking. Morning light touched the hills gently. Birds flew across the open sky, and the air smelled of fresh pine. Rafe had never seen something so peaceful. Sammy leaned on the balcony rail, amazed by the wide space below. He said the mountains looked like tall giants watching over them. After breakfast, Rafe decided to explore the house with full attention. He wanted to understand the life his uncle lived and why this house felt so special. While Sammy played with smooth stones in the yard, Rafe walked from room to room. In the living room, he noticed a row of books placed neatly on a wooden shelf. The books covered topics like mountain plants, old stories of the valley, and notes about the weather. Some books had his uncle Ramiz's name written inside. Rafe picked up one and slowly flipped through the pages. The handwriting inside was neat and calm. It described the importance of the house, how it stood for many generations, and how every family member protected the land around it. Rafe did not understand everything, but one sentence caught his attention. It said the house carried a quiet strength and always called its rightful owner back to it. Rafe felt something shift in his chest. He wondered if his dreams from childhood were connected to this line. He had seen this place in his sleep so many times. Now he was standing inside the real version of it. He continued exploring. When he opened a wooden cabinet, he found old maps rolled tightly. The maps showed the mountain paths, the valley, and even hidden trails inside the forest. Some areas had circles drawn around them, as if his uncle wanted someone to pay attention to those places. Rafe felt more curious. He wanted to learn much more about his uncle and this house. Something inside told him that the mountain held deeper secrets. Later in the afternoon, he walked into the village with Sammy to buy food and daily supplies. The villagers were friendly. Many recognized Rafe immediately and welcomed him warmly. Some said they knew his uncle very well. Others spoke about how generous Uncle Ramiz had been. They told him his uncle always helped travelers, shared food with the poor, and protected the forest. Rafe felt proud to hear these things. An old man named Armin walked toward him slowly. He used a wooden stick for support, but had strong eyes. He greeted Rafe in a gentle voice. Rafe felt respect for him right away. Armin explained that he had been a close friend of Uncle Ramiz for many years. He said he was happy to finally meet Rafe after hearing about him for a long time. Armin said that Uncle Ramiz often spoke about Rafe with affection. He believed Rafe would return to the mountains one day, even though he had been gone for many years. Rafe was surprised by this. He had not known his uncle cared so much. He only remembered faint childhood memories of playing on the balcony and hearing stories about the valley. Armin looked at him kindly and said the house was more than just a building. It carried the weight of history and the love of family. Armin also said that the house sometimes guided the owner and gave gentle signs to protect them. Rafe asked what signs he meant. Armin only smiled and said Rafe would understand in time. He said the mountains had their own language, and the house listened to that language. Rafe returned home deep in thought. When he entered the house, he felt the same calmness again. It was not only a shelter, it felt like a living companion. In the evening, while checking the walls near the fireplace, Rafe heard a soft, low sound. It was not loud. It was like the wall was humming. Rafe placed his hand on the wood. The sound felt gentle under his fingertips. He felt the vibration move through the wood like a soft heartbeat. He stepped back slowly, unsure of what he had just felt, but he was not frightened. The sound did not feel dangerous. It felt like a quiet welcome. He wondered if this was one of the signs Armin spoke about. Sammy walked in and asked if the house was making music. Rafe smiled and said maybe it was just the wind. But deep inside, he knew the sound came from something else. When the sky turned dark, Rafe sat near the fireplace with Sammy. The fire warmed the room and made the shadows on the walls dance gently. Rafe thought of his life before arriving here. Every day had been a struggle. He had worked hard, tried to protect his son, and yet they had suffered. But in this house, for the first time, life felt steady. It felt like the mountain had opened a new chapter for them. That night, Rafe had another dream. He stood on the balcony, looking at the valley just like he did that morning. But in the dream, he saw a soft light glowing from behind the trees in the forest. The light pulsed gently, like it was calling him. Rafe felt calm in the dream, not scared. He walked toward the light, but before he reached it, he woke up suddenly. Rafe sat up with a fast heartbeat. He looked at the window where the moonlight entered the room. The dream felt so real. The same light had appeared in many of his childhood dreams. It always appeared behind the trees, glowing quietly. Now the dream had returned. He wondered what it meant. Was the mountain trying to speak to him? Was his uncle trying to show him something? From beyond this world, Rafe did not know. But he felt certain that his coming here was not an accident. The next day, Rafe explored the back of the house. A small path led behind the building, covered with fallen leaves. Sammy ran ahead, excited to see what was there. As they reached the edge of the forest, Rafe stopped. The trees stood tall and still, and sunlight passed through the leaves in golden lines. Rafe felt the same peaceful energy he had felt inside the house. He remembered his dream and looked deeper into the forest. A part of him felt drawn to it. He wondered if the glowing light he had seen in his dream was hidden somewhere inside those trees. He wanted to explore, but also felt he should wait. The mountain seemed to want him to understand things slowly. Rafe returned to the house with a quiet mind. He knew that this place held secrets, some gentle and some deep. He also knew he was no longer the lost man he once was. The house was slowly giving him strength, confidence, and a sense of purpose. As the day ended, Rafe stood on the balcony again with his son. The sky turned orange, then pink, then dark blue. Sammy leaned against him and said this place felt magical. Rafe agreed. The house felt alive, the land felt wise, and the mountains felt like guardians. Rafe had no idea what awaited him next, but he knew one thing: his life would never be the same again. The days passed with quiet peace, and Rafe slowly began to understand the rhythm of the mountain. The mornings always came with soft light. The afternoons were filled with the sound of rustling leaves, and the nights carried a calm silence that wrapped around the house. For the first time in many years, Rafe felt life slowing down in a good way. Sammy enjoyed every moment. He ran across the yard, climbed small rocks, and collected tiny pinnacones. He laughed freely, something he had not done much in the city. Raffe watched him with warm pride. He wanted this peaceful life for his son. He wanted Sammy to feel safe and loved in every way. But Raffe also knew the house held secrets. The soft humming sound from the wall, the dream of a glowing light in the forest, and the strange message in his uncle's notebook filled his mind each night. He felt that he was standing close to something important, something hidden behind the ordinary world. One morning, Raffe woke early. The sky was still dim, and the air felt cool. He sat on the edge of the bed for a moment, thinking about the faint dreams he had seen again. The same glowing light, the same soft whisper of wind through the trees, the same invitation to explore. It was as if the mountain was calling him gently. He decided to clean the house that day. He wanted to understand every corner and every room. He took a cloth and began wiping shelves, dusting frames, and moving old furniture. Sammy helped in his own small way by gathering toys and placing them neatly in a box. When Raffe reached the living room, he noticed a small leak near the fireplace wall. A single drop of water rolled down the wood. He frowned and moved a large shelf to check behind it. As the heavy shelf slid across the floor, Raffe felt the wooden planks shift under his feet. It was not a natural shift. It felt like the floor was hiding something beneath it. Raffe knelt down and looked closely. One of the wooden planks had a tiny metal ring attached to it. It was old and almost hidden under dust. Raffe touched the ring and felt a strange pull of curiosity. He held the ring and slowly lifted the plank. Underneath, there was darkness. A narrow wooden staircase led down into a small space hidden below the house. Raffe felt his breath catch. He had lived in the house for several days now, but he had never known this secret place existed. He grabbed a lantern, lit it carefully, and began descending the narrow stairs. The wooden steps creaked softly under his weight. The deeper he went, the cooler the air became. When he reached the bottom, his lantern lit up a hidden room. The room was wide and old. The walls were made of stone, and the air smelled of aged wood. There were wooden chests placed along one wall. Old tools rested on a shelf. Several books and notebooks lay scattered on a table. Raffe walked around slowly, touching nothing at first. He wanted to understand the room before opening anything. At the center of the room stood a large stone tablet. It was rectangular and smooth, with carvings covering the surface. The carvings looked ancient. Some showed shapes of mountains, some showed rivers, and others looked like stars. Raffe could not understand the symbols, but they felt important. The moment he stepped closer, he felt a quiet strength coming from the stone. He placed his hand gently on the surface. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a faint glow appeared behind the carvings. It was soft and pale, like moonlight shining through clouds. Raffe stepped back with wide eyes. The glow lasted only a short moment before fading away. His heart beat fast. He did not know whether to feel scared or amazed, but he sensed that the glow was not a threat. It felt welcoming, almost warm in a gentle way. He began exploring the room further. He opened one of the chests and found old journals. The top one belonged to his uncle Ramiz. Raffe sat down on a wooden stool and opened the notebook. The first page had a simple sentence: "This house must be protected. It listens to the mountain, and the mountain listens to it." Raffe took a deep breath. He turned the page. The next lines explained the history of the house. His uncle wrote that their family had lived on the mountain for many generations. Every generation had one person who connected with the land more deeply than others. That person often saw dreams, felt the guidance of the house, and understood the songs of the mountain. Raffe felt his throat tighten. He remembered his childhood dreams. He remembered the familiar feeling when he stepped into the house for the first time. He remembered the soft humming from the wall. He continued reading. The notebook said the hidden room was known as the heart room. The stone tablet was older than the house and older than the village. The first family member had found it when the land was still wild. From that day forward, the family protected the stone and the land around it. The stone carried the memory of the mountain and guided the protector. Raffe closed the notebook slowly. His hands trembled slightly. He had come here with nothing, a homeless man with a young son. Now he was reading words that said he was part of something bigger than he had ever imagined. He stood up and looked at the stone tablet again. It stood silently in the middle of the room. Rafe stepped closer and touched the carvings one more time. He felt warmth spread through his fingertips. He felt calm, not fear. Something told him that he was meant to find this room. When he went back upstairs, Sammy ran to him, asking what he had found. Rafe did not want to scare his son, so he said he found some old things from his uncle. Sammy seemed satisfied and continued playing. A while later, Rafe told Armin about the hidden room. The old man listened quietly and then nodded. Armin said his uncle knew the room well. He said it was a sacred place that only the rightful keeper of the house could enter with comfort. Armin also said that if Rafe felt peace inside that room, it meant the mountain accepted him. Rafe felt a deep sense of awe. He had never imagined that his life would change so quickly. He looked around the house with new eyes. The wooden walls, the scent of pine, the warmth of the fireplace, and the soft wind outside all felt connected. That night, Rafe stepped onto the balcony. The sky glowed with stars. The valley stretched below him in calm silence. He placed his hand on the wooden rail and closed his eyes. He knew this was only the beginning. The mountains had more secrets. The house had more stories. And the glowing stone below held an ancient truth waiting for him to understand. Rafe breathed deeply and whispered a promise to the night sky. He would protect this house, this land, and every secret hidden within the mountain. His journey had only begun. The morning in the mountain house began with a strange stillness. Aaron woke early, before the first light touched the peaks. He moved quietly through the warm wooden hallway, checking each room the way he did every morning now. He stopped by Emon's room and saw the boy sleeping peacefully, wrapped in a blanket with a soft smile. That small smile always gave Aaron strength. But today was different. Something in the air felt heavy, like the house was holding its breath. The silence was too deep. Even the wind outside felt slower than usual. Aaron walked toward the living room and noticed something at once. The old painting on the wall had changed again. He stared at it with a long breath. The picture now showed the same mountain valley, the same cliff, and the same house. But a small figure was added near the tree line. A person, a shadow of someone. Aaron stepped closer. The shadowy figure stood on the edge of the forest, head turned toward the house. "Why is this here?" Aaron whispered, feeling his heart beat harder. The house almost seemed to answer with a faint creak. He stepped back. For the past days, everything had been strange but harmless. The house had given them safety, warmth, food, and comfort. The lights never failed. The water always ran warm. The floors were always clean even when no one cleaned them. But the painting felt different. It felt like a message. He did not want to wake Iman with worry. So he went to the kitchen and made breakfast quietly. When Iman finally came out rubbing his eyes, Aaron greeted him with a warm smile. "Morning. Sit, eat. Then we will clean the back room today." Iman nodded and sat down. He did not notice the tension in his father's voice yet. As they ate, the house whispered again. It was only the sound of wood settling, but this time it sounded more alive, like footsteps inside the walls. Aaron looked up sharply but said nothing. He did not want to frighten his son. After breakfast, they opened the back room. It was the only room in the house they had not touched yet. The door stuck at first as if something inside did not want to be disturbed. Aaron pushed harder and the door finally opened with a long groan. Inside, they found shelves filled with old objects, carved wooden boxes, dusty books, small tools, glass bottles, rolled maps, strange stones, and long-forgotten letters tied with ribbon. Iman touched a wooden box. "Can I open this?" Aaron hesitated but nodded slowly. "Yes, be gentle." The box opened easily. Inside were small polished stones that glowed faintly without any light on them. Not glowing like magic, but glowing with natural shine, like moonlit stones. "Pretty," Iman whispered. Aaron felt a mix of wonder and concern. Everything in this house was unusual. Too unusual. At the bottom of the box was a folded note. Aaron lifted it and opened it carefully. The handwriting was elegant but firm. The words were clear. "Take care of the house and it will take care of you. But never ignore its warnings." Aaron read the line twice. Warnings. The painting came to his mind at once. He put the note away and closed the box. "We will clean the rest later," he said quietly. Ayman looked confused but followed him out. For the rest of the day, the house felt restless. Small things moved when neither of them touched them. A chair shifted. A window opened on its own. A cupboard door swung slowly, but calmly, as if someone unseen was walking through the room. The air was not threatening, but it was not peaceful either. By afternoon, Aaron could not ignore it anymore. He checked the painting again. The shadowy figure had moved closer to the house. It now stood right outside the tree line, clearer than before. Aaron felt a chill run through his arms. "What do you want?" he whispered to the empty room. The house answered with a soft vibration through the floor, almost like a heartbeat. That evening, as the sun went down behind the mountains, a soft knock suddenly echoed through the hallway. It was not from the door. It came from the back of the house. Aaron went still. Ayman looked up from his drawing. "Baba, someone is outside." Aaron forced a calm breath. "Stay here. Do not move." He took a lantern and walked toward the back door. The knocking came again, slow and gentle, like someone trying not to scare the house. Aaron opened the door carefully. Outside was only the forest, dark and quiet. He stepped out a little, holding the lantern high. Then he saw something at the edge of the trees. A figure, standing still, watching. But it was not a person. It was a tall wooden shape, like a carved guardian statue. Something old. Something that had been there before, but hidden by the shadows. And now it was standing upright as if it had walked there on its own. The same figure from the painting. Aaron felt his breath catch. "Why are you here?" he said softly. The wind blew gently through the trees. The wooden figure leaned slightly, almost like a bow. Then it stepped back into the forest and disappeared among the shadows. As if the mountain swallowed it, Aaron shut the door and locked it. The house made a soft sound, like relief, when he returned to the living room. Ayman looked up with wide eyes. "Who was it?" "No one dangerous," Aaron said with a steady voice. "The mountain is old. It has its own way of watching us." He sat beside his son and placed an arm around his shoulders. "We will be careful, and we will trust the house. It is trying to tell us something." Ayman leaned against him. "Do you think this house wants us to stay?" Aaron looked at the warm wooden walls, the soft lights, the gentle hum of something alive but friendly. "Yes, I think it does," he said softly. But somewhere deep inside, he also felt the truth. The house was giving them safety, but it was preparing them too, preparing them for something coming soon, something neither he nor Ayman could yet understand. The morning sun rose slowly over the mountains, spreading soft light across the valley. Aaron stood on the balcony with Ayman at his side. The air was crisp and clear, and the distant peaks glowed gold. After weeks in the mountain house, Aaron finally felt a sense of calm he had never known. Ayman jumped excitedly, pointing to the forest. "Baba, look! The deer are back near the river." Aaron smiled. He watched the small animals move gracefully through the valley. He remembered the first days when they arrived. Then, the house had seemed strange, almost alive in ways he did not understand. Now, everything felt like home. The soft hum in the walls, the gentle guidance of the hidden room, and even the strange wooden figure in the forest all became part of a rhythm he could trust. After breakfast, Aaron decided it was time to explore the hidden forest trail near the house. He wanted to see what secrets it held and understand more about his uncle's notes. Ayman followed closely, his small backpack filled with snacks and a notebook for drawing the plants and trees they would find out as they entered the trail. Sunlight filtered through the leaves, creating dancing patterns on the forest floor. Birds sang from high branches, and the air smelled of pine and fresh earth. Aaron felt the same calm energy he had noticed since moving into the house. He realized that the mountain was alive in its own way. It was not dangerous, but it was powerful. It was protective. They walked slowly, observing the plants and small creatures. Aaron noticed some symbols carved into the bark of old trees. He recognized the shapes from his uncle's notebooks. They seemed to mark the safest paths, places to find water, and even spots to rest. Aaron's heart filled with respect. His uncle had left a map of knowledge for him, hidden in plain sight within the forest itself. After walking a while, they reached a small clearing with a gentle stream. The water was clear and cold, reflecting the sunlight. Iman knelt down and began drawing in his notebook. Aaron watched him for a moment, thinking about how far they had come. They had arrived in the mountains homeless and uncertain. Now they had a home, a safe valley, and a purpose that went beyond survival. Aaron remembered the hidden room in the house, the glowing stone, and the message from his uncle. He realized the house was guiding them toward this life. It was teaching them to listen, to notice, and to respect the land. Aaron had been chosen to care for the mountain, the house, and his son, just as his uncle had been. While Aaron was lost in thought, Iman tugged at his sleeve. "Baba, look, the stone. It's shining near the water." Aaron followed his gaze. On the edge of the stream, a small smooth stone reflected the sunlight in a way that almost seemed magical. He bent down and picked it up. It was warm, despite the cool air. It reminded him of the glowing stone in the hidden room. Aaron smiled softly. The mountain had given them a sign that everything was connected. The house, the forest, the valley, and even their lives were tied together in a way he now understood. After their walk, they returned to the house. Aaron noticed the air felt lighter, as if the house itself was relieved. The soft hum inside the walls seemed stronger, like a voice saying welcome home. Aaron understood that the mountain house was no ordinary home. It was a guardian, a teacher, and a protector. In the following days, Aaron began making small improvements to the house. He repaired shelves, polished floors, and cleaned the windows. He found joy in these simple tasks because each one felt like caring for something alive. Iman helped as much as he could, and sometimes he would draw the house and the valley from the balcony. Aaron smiled at his son's imagination, realizing the boy had found a home as well. One afternoon, a gentle knock came at the front door. Aaron opened it and saw Armin, the old villager, standing there with a basket of fruits. Armin's face was kind and smiling. "I thought you might like some fresh fruit," Armin said. "The mountain provides well this time of year. You have been here long enough to join its rhythm." Aaron thanked him and invited him inside. They sat near the fireplace and talked about the forest, the streams, and the valley. Armin shared more stories about the house and the family history. He told Aaron that his uncle had been careful to teach the next generation how to listen to the house and respect the mountain. Now it was Aaron's turn. That evening, after Armin left, Aaron stood on the balcony and looked at the sky. The stars were bright, scattered across the dark velvet of night. The valley below was calm, lit only by the moonlight. Aaron held Iman close and whispered, "We belong here now. This is our home." Iman smiled, leaning his head against his father. "Yes, Baba, I like it here. It feels safe." Aaron nodded. He felt a deep sense of gratitude. For months, they had struggled to survive. They had faced hunger, cold, and uncertainty. Now, everything had changed. The mountain house had given them shelter, protection, and purpose over the next weeks. Aaron explored more of the house and the valley. He discovered small rooms filled with tools, hidden cabinets, and even an old library of books about mountain life. Each discovery made him feel more connected to his uncle and the generations before him. He understood that his uncle had not only left a house, but a way of life, a path to wisdom and peace. Iman learned quickly. He understood the importance of caring for the house, the animals, and the land. He helped Aaron carry water, gather firewood, and plant small vegetables near the house. The boy laughed easily and played with the animals they found in the valley. His laughter echoed in the mountain air, blending with the soft hum of the house. One evening, a soft glow appeared again in the hidden room. Aaron and Iman walked down the staircase to see the stone tablet shining faintly, as if saying that everything was aligned. Aaron placed his hand on the stone and felt warmth spreading through him. He knew they had been accepted fully by the house and the mountain. From that night onward, the house never made strange noises to frighten them again. Instead, it seemed to hum with calm energy, guiding them gently in their new life. Aaron felt a sense of pride he had never known. He was not only a father providing for his son, he was a protector of the house, the mountain, and the valley. Seasons changed, and Aaron and Iman settled into the rhythm of the mountains. They learned the language of the forest, the songs of the river, in the patterns of the stars. They became part of the valley, trusted by the villagers and respected by the mountain itself. One clear morning, Aaron stood on the balcony, looking down at the valley bathed in sunlight. Iman ran around the yard, laughing and chasing butterflies. Aaron smiled and realized how far they had come. The homeless days, the struggles, the fears, all of it now felt like a memory. The mountain had given them life, safety, and a future. Aaron whispered a promise to the valley, to the house, and to his uncle's memory. We will take care of you, just as you have taken care of us. We will live here with respect and love. Iman ran to him, holding a small flower he had picked. For the house, Baba, so it knows we are happy. Aaron laughed softly and took the flower. Yes, my son, it will know. From that day on, life in the mountain house became a true home. The house had chosen them, and they had chosen it back. Aaron understood finally that happiness was not just about comfort. It was about being part of something greater, about listening, caring, and belonging. The homeless single father who had walked the streets with only hope in his heart was now a guardian of a magical home, a loving father, and a part of the mountain's story. The house, the valley, and the mountain had changed everything. Aaron smiled, feeling peace for the first time in his life. He held Iman close, looked out over the glowing valley, and whispered, "It's just like my dreams," and in the quiet of the mountains, the house seemed to hum softly, welcoming them home.